Hi, it's me, Sam again, and this is By Hook or By Needles. And yeah, it's going to be another one of those videos where I encourage you to weave in your ends as you go, people, because look at this. Okay, I know, I'm deliberately didn't weave them in because I knew I was going to do these videos, but you don't want to be like this. You want to have them all weaved in because I'm going to say something controversial now, very controversial, that you may not like hearing, and that is an FO isn't an FO unless all the ends are weaved in. Now, I'm not trying to say that because I weave in my ends, I'm better than anyone else. In fact, I have been known to once, I only did it once, I must admit. I once threw a cardigan which I'd made for somebody, and it was a very intricate cardigan, I've got to tell you. And if I can find the picture of it and work out how to insert the picture, I will do that somewhere around here somehow. Still learning, so everything is very, very new. But and you will see that it had a humongous number of ends. And what I did with this person was I knitted him this cardigan once. And the first time I knitted it, and I knitted it in a really, really quick amount of time, probably 2 weeks, 3 weeks at the very most. And I sewed in all the ends, and then I gave it to him, and he was ecstatic because he'd chosen all the colors and he'd chosen the pattern, and he was really, really happy with it. And all was well and good. And many months later, he got married, and his new wife put it in the washing machine on a hot wash, and yeah, it felted. Well, it didn't felt, it just shrunk. Even though it was superwash wool, it shrunk because she had put it on such a hot wash. So he was quite upset about that. And she apologized. Oh, I'm very sorry, you know. And I'm like, oh, look, I know he really loved the jumper or the cardigan, so I thought I'll make him another one. And I did, and no, she didn't wash this one again and shrink it. But when I did make it, I threw it at him with all the ends not woven in. And I said, there you go. I said, I've done the hard part. You can do the easy part. And his wife was actually a cross-stitcher. She loved cross-stitches. So I thought, well, it's not going to be anything, you know, major for her to sew in all the ends. And to be perfectly honest, by that stage, I was just done with the damn thing. But, yeah. So, no, I have not always woven all of my ends in as I go. So I understand the trauma that weaving in ends can cause. It's just, it can be, oops, damn. It can be such a pain in the butt. I know that. But, you know, it needs to be done. And, you know, the better you do it, the more pleased you're going to be with the way it looks. And the more professional it will look. And the better the word of mouth will be, you know, when people are wearing it. My brother told me, oh, sugar, I just dropped that it was my brother that I knitted it for. Did I say? Yes, I did say that before. Oh, gosh. Anyway, my brother actually said to me that when he had worn the first one out in public to the, I think he said it was Fountain Gate, because that's where they used to live near there. And, he said, when I wore the cardigan to Fountain Gate, someone had come up, well, more than one person had come up, he said, and asked him where he got the cardigan from. And he'd sort of said, oh, my sister knitted it for me. And they had sort of like, oh, wow, you know, how much? And he said, I had absolutely no idea. He said, so I told them $300. And I thought, Well, I had knitted it with Bendigo Woolen Mills yarn, wool, 100%, merino, machine washable wool. And the yarn on the cardigan, back in those days, yeah, it was probably $120. So, because it's going back a while. Today it would probably cost, yeah, almost $300. So he wasn't far off when he said, $350 odd or $300. So it was a lovely cardigan. I hope I can find. I know I've got the picture, but it's just a matter of putting it in the video. And I actually got pen and pad here today because I realized the other day someone asked, I had promised to put links into videos, and I remembered one of them and I couldn't remember the other one. So I have to go back and watch my own videos to see what I've been promising, so that I can link them. Okay. For those who do not know, this is the Pentapatch. It's the Pentapatch that I have finished early. It's gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and I sort of thought it's either me that's gauge is off or something, or whatever. But I only used a 3.5. I think I used a 3.5 hook. Whatever it was, I know it wasn't, it wasn't like over 4. So I made I was making it, and it's just one of those items, and you think, oh, okay, now I've got to do a section of this, and now I've got to do a section, and just got to the stage I was thinking, I'm done. I'm done. So I just threw the squares on, which you had to do. I think there's another, on the end of this, there's another couple of sections. I think I was very close to the end, but I thought, no, I'm done. I'm finished. I don't want to do anymore. It's big enough for me, for what I want it for. And no, I don't know what I want it for, but no, it's a big enough blanket. It'll do for, sitting on the couch watching TV, or it'll do for, as a baby blanket, or a cot blanket, or anything like that. So I thought, no, I'm done. I'm done. So I might, oops, almost dropped my needle. Only thing wrong with these gloves is they're really, really very good. You can't obviously crochet in them or knit in them, but they are really, really good, and they've got this like grippy bit to them, which does help, but they can get a little bit cumbersome after a while, but I do like to wear them because they do help. Now, I might explain for those who didn't catch my first episode of Whip It In Wednesday, and yes, this isn't Wednesday. I'm going to call this, no, I don't even know if I'm going to call it a Weave It In Weekend. I was going to call it Weave It In Weekend. I thought, no, just be blunt. We've got to get this done. We've got to get those ends sewn in. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I haven't even done one side of all these edges. Not even one side. So, I've still got a lot to do. And I've got the edges of another to do. That blanket is called the Enigma. I'm going to write these down because I'm going to put these links in the description. But I need to write them down first so I know. So I'm going to put in the Pentapatch. And the Enigma. Because, what else am I working on? I think that's it. But they're the only things that have ends at the moment that need weaving in. And with the Enigma, I'm waiting on a ball of yarn. I needed one colour, one ball, one colour. And I thought, no, I am not going to just order one ball, one colour, because the postage will be more than the yarn. This is for this and the Enigma. No, this one isn't using Special Craft DK. The Enigma is using Special Craft DK, which I usually get from Wool Warehouse in the UK. And they carry a lot of brands. You can change the pricing to your country pricing, so you get an estimate. It is only an estimate, because obviously the exchange rate changes constantly. But I think what they probably do is at the beginning of the day, they just sort of put in what the code is at the beginning of the day, and then they just work with that one. Anyway, so I thought I need to get a ball of yarn, but I'm not going to pay for just one ball. Then, who was it bought out a new pattern? My girlfriend was showing it to me the other day. She said, oh, look at this one. And it's beautiful autumnal colours, because UK and the US are heading into autumn, whereas I am currently in spring. And I looked at it and I thought, ooh. And it's from, and you can get kits from the Wool Warehouse. So I thought, great, good excuse to be able to get my ball of yarn that I want. So I went online to the Wool. Oh gosh, what am I doing? Whoops, the end came out. So I went to the Wool Warehouse, and I was looking, and I looked at the kits, and the kits are quite good because it is only a very smallish blanket. I wouldn't even call it, I suppose it's a lap or a baby blanket maybe. It is quite small, and it's made with granny squares sewn together, and this is like a band. I'll find the pattern, put it into the below. I can't even remember what it's called. Find autumn pattern. Link. Okay. Yeah, and I thought, okay. I thought, it's a bit small. My girlfriend in the UK, Kaz. Hi, Kaz, if you're watching. You better be watching. I'm coming over there. She says, I'm buying 2 kits. And like I said, the kits, I want to say they were £24. Or maybe, no, they wouldn't have been as cheap as £14. Like I'm putting a link for Wool Warehouse in there as well. Wool Warehouse for the pattern, for the kit. And then you can see how wrong I am. It was either £14 or £24. Either way, she's doubling up. She said, I'm going to double the size of it. And I thought, well, that's a good idea, because that was what was putting me off it, was the actual size. You can buy the pattern from Wool Warehouse as well for, I think, £4.50, as well as the kits. But it's quite pretty. I'm thinking it might even be from the same woman who is Esther, and I cannot say her surname, Esther from All in a Nutshell, the one who made the Enigma. I got a funny feeling it's her that's doing it. But, well, I'll provide links. This time I will, because I've written it down. Anyway, so oh dear, gone off on a tangent again, woman. So I'm on Wool Warehouse, and I'm looking at the kit, and I'm thinking, yeah, I love autumn colours. I want to do something, autumnal. But at the same time, I've got all these sorts of colours left over. Plus, I've got some other golds and reds and all. And I thought, maybe I could just piece together a kit. So I might just get the pattern. Just to piece together and do a sort of scrappy version of it. because it is it's a cute pattern. It's like a starburst square almost. Yeah. So anyway, so then I was on the site and I thought, okay, look, I'll order 2 balls of the colour of the yarn that I need, because I'm still only like probably halfway through the Enigma, which needs the yarn that I've used up. How, I don't know. I think I probably changed the colour combination. You know how you do, you start off and you think, oh yeah, this would be my C1 and C2 and C3 and so forth. And then when you look at the colours, you think, oh no, I don't really want that colour next to that colour. And then you change it all around. And of course, the quantities of yarn you need for that colour is different to the colour. Yeah, so that's what happened, I think. So I thought, I'll order 2 balls. And then I thought, oh, I'm going to be safe. I'm going to order an extra ball of everything else as well. Yeah, I know. This is why I end up with so much damn yarn. So I did that, and I was looking and looking, and then I found a cute little pack for, I think, £17 or £16.99, and it was festive Christmas socks, and there was stripes. I'll put a link for that as well. It was a kit of, I think, 4 balls of sock yarn, and 3 were variegated, and 1 was just a quite deep-ish red, but not very, very deep. Not a burgundy, but a very deep, sort of almost pillar box red. And it was just a little kit of 4 balls of yarn. And I thought, I might get that, because I am trying to do my socks again, and it's coming along. I've got to say, this pattern I have found is coming along so nicely. Now, I'm going to show you, actually. I'll do this end first. First do the end, woman. Get the end in. Anyone who does knitting knows that I'm really overgeneralizing and exaggerating here. But everybody who's made socks knows the worst part is the heel, doing what they call turn the heel, because if you can hear my cats, they're chasing their little laser light in the next room, and they're scuffing on the carpet. And you know, the worst part is the damn heel. I hate German short rows. I hate wrap and turns. Believe it or not, this sock pattern has neither. When I saw it on Ravelry, I was like, huh? I don't even know. I don't think I actually initially saw it on Ravelry. I think I went to Ravelry to get it. So I don't know where I actually saw it. I'll put that in the link as well. Sock pattern. And I got to tell you, you start from cuff down. I like toe up normally, but you can't win them all. So I thought, okay, let me show you. Move that out of the way for now, and I'll bring in my box of socks. These are my socks. Notice they sort of match the blanket rather, don't they? But here is the heel. Oops, no. Bring it down here. Here is the heel. So what you actually do is you start at the cuff, you come down, and then instead of like you would increase, and then you would do short row decreases. This is just like knitting. It's just like adding a panel that's sort of diamond shape almost into the back of the sock where the heel's to go. This is just normal increasing. It's just make one left, make one right. Then you knit for 10 rows, and then you start decreasing, and the decrease is just, I think, knit 2 together or purl 2 together. So no German row, short rows, no rapid turns, and I think they're coming out quite nicely for a change. So I'm quite excited about that. But I'll put the pattern once again, down below. And socks are great. I love socks. I love the concept of making socks. I don't think I've made a pair yet that's lasted it through being picked apart by my son, who loves to pull on loose ends. Weave in your ends, people. This is why you weave in your ends. You get sons like mine who love to pick at things. And then they go pick, pick, pick. Before you know it, they've unraveled a sock. Yeah. So I'm trying to find a sock pattern that will not only fit when finished, but that looks good and that is easy to make. And I've done that, the cuff, the leg of the sock, and half of the heel in really just 3 or 4 days, and that's including making videos and whatnot for weaving in and comparisons to corner, or half and half squares and whatnot. So it's not bad. It goes fairly quickly. I'm doing 2 at a time. I was doing them initially 2 at a time, 1 pair, 2 on, how do you say it? They were both on separate 9-inch circulars. And I do a section on this one, and then I go and do the same section on the other one, so that I was getting them equal. And the reason I was doing that was because I thought, oh, when I get to the heel, normally if you do 2 socks in a magic loop and do 2 socks on 1 loop like I'm doing now, when you get to the first heel of the first sock, you have to go back and forth, or just on that one side, until you've completed that heel. Well, that doesn't help, because now the other sock has been completely ignored. So, yeah, you have to then sort of do the back side of the sock and slip them over, and then you can do the second sock. You can do the heel. And I like to do them at the same time. And I thought this heel was going to be the same, where I wasn't going to be able to work on them at the same time. But because of the way that they just increase and decrease, I could have done them magic loop from the very beginning. So next time I'm making a set like them, that's exactly what I will do. So if you're a knitter out there and you've been looking at socks, I found a really good pattern, which is in the link below. In the link below? No, in the description box below. Okay, how many ends has everyone got done so far? Working. For those who haven't seen me sew in an end before, it's fascinating, isn't it? What I do to thread a needle really quickly is I just run my needle through the end to sort of scuff it up a little bit. See, it's got a little bit, I'm gonna go focus. See, it's got a little bit of fluffiness that thins it out. I bend it over. Come on, focus. I bend it over, slip it off, turn the needle, and then push the end through. Very quick and easy. I've heard that most people's objection to weaving in ends is to do with weaving in or threading the needle. So if that's you, I've just shown you how to thread a needle without one of those little needle threaders very quickly and very easily. No spit required. And in my last weave it in Wednesday, or my first one I should say, I did remember the link for a video from a woman who has a way of doing granny squares with different color each row, and weaving in the ends or crocheting in the ends as you go, which I thought was quite effective. So if you want to go back and have a look at that video, have a look in the description. You'll see her video. I can't even remember her name. She's another Australian, which is, I don't know, probably how I found her. I think they're suggesting Australian knitters and crocheters to me now. But it works. I don't know as if I do it that way just because I don't mind weaving in ends. It's not a huge chore for me. I mean, I could sit here and weave in these ends and look up and go, oh, wow, it's been 2 hours. You know, it just, it's not laborious for me anymore, because my main objective in trying to make it less laborious is to reduce the quantity I have to do, which I haven't done in this case, like I say, because I wanted ends to weave in for videos. But normally what I would do at the end of a day, like when I was making this blanket for all the other sections, at the end of the day when I finished doing the crocheting, I'd grab a coffee, a drink, whether it be, coffee doesn't keep me awake, but I'd grab a hot coffee or a Horlicks. Thanks, Carol. She sends me my Horlicks, so I get my Horlicks fix. And as I'm drinking my hot drink, I weave in the ends for that day. Now, sometimes, well, in this case, because there's like, I'm going to say at least 45 of these little squares around this blanket, which is then, so they've got 2 ends each. Then you join each together, and they've got 2 ends each. But I did weave in the ends for each individual square first. So I probably only got 90 ends. Only, she says. But, yeah, I always make it the last thing I do before I go to bed, because the worst thing I hated, it's just a nightmare. You wake up and you pick up your project and yes, another day, I get to do some more crochet, and then you go, oh, all my ends still need weaving in. Do it before bed. Even if you just spend 10, 15 minutes, even if you don't get them all done, do it before bed. It's your last thing, and it doesn't require any brain power. So it's really one of those relaxing things you can do that can help you unwind. You know, you're not reading a pattern. You know, a lot of the time I'll do what I'm doing here. I'll shut off the TV and just sit here and weave in ends. So it's nice and quiet as well. And really, it's quite a nice way to finish off the... Some cats just come rushing in here. It's a nice way to finish off the day. And then you know, tomorrow I can start and there's no ends to weave in, or there's less ends to weave in. And, you know, and don't forget, you know, always go back. When you've done, go back and look and go, you know, wow, that looks great. It looks so much better with the ends woven away. I know it sounds stupid, but to me, my mum always used to tell me when I was little, because I was the most untidy, and still am, little girl. Well, I'm a big girl now, but I was really untidy. I never put anything away. I never tied in my bedroom or anything. And she used to always say to me, with housework, what you've got to do is you start from one corner, the back corner, furthest from the door, and you clean and clean and clean and clean to the door. She says, and when you finish that, and you've closed the door, and you go into your next room, and you're getting a bit sort of, you know, you're flagging, or you're thinking, oh, I can't do this anymore. She used to say to me, go and look at the other room. Just open the door and look at how clean and tidy the other room is. And tell you, and you know, she says, and tell yourself that's how you want the rest of the house to look. Well, you know, at the same time, my mum is a clean freak. But, you know. But it's the same sort of thing with the crochet. You know, it's not just weaving in ends. You know, if you've got a difficult pattern, or when you're knitting and you've got a difficult pattern, take time to sort of step back and hold it up in front of you and look at it and say, wow, you know, that looks really great. I can't believe I've done that. And when you're doing that, or in my case, when I'm doing that, I more than often than not will go, damn, I've skipped a stitch here, or I've put two V stitches together when it should be V stitch, DC, V stitch, and so then I can unravel, and I can only, you know, I'm only unraveling, you know, maximum of half a round or something. It helps. It helps in so many ways, and it does. And if you can't find any errors and you're looking at it and you think, gee, that looks really good, I've got to keep going. Of course, in the same instance, if you've got a pattern that you just really can't fall in love with, and we all have those, we all have a pattern that we go, oh, someone's asked us to make this for them. I think that's probably what it is. I think most of the patterns that we go, ugh, to and decide, no, I don't want to do that anymore, they are the patterns that someone has asked us to make for them, in most cases, or in my case. You know, it's like, I don't want to do that. But you're doing it because someone's asked you to do it. Weaving in this one. This might make bloop, bloop. Might speak properly. I'll learn to speak properly, then I'll say what I was going to say. I will make this my last end to weave in, because I don't want to make these. I mean, I could make this video, well, at least 2 hours long, maybe even longer, and do all my ends. But that's not what this is about. This is about, you know, encouraging you to spend just 20 or 30 minutes, and in this case, we've been already over 30 minutes. 30 minutes? What have we? Yeah, we have. So this will be my last one, because like I say, the point is, if you've got a lot of ends because you didn't weave in as you go, this is your punishment, doing them with me until they're all woven in. Yep. So think of this as punishment. Oh God, I've got to watch another Weave It In Wednesdays, or Weave It In on the weekend with Sam, because, you know, I've been bad. But, yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to upload this. And then, coming up next week, what I'm hoping to do, if I can find, I wrote down a pattern in my gibberish for a pot holder, I guess you would call it, or something, you know, like a trivet that's very, very thick in crochet. I mean, I'm also going to make one that's going to be very, very thick in knitting. This is my plan. The knitted one will take a lot longer because it is double knit. So I may either do that in a thicker yarn, or I may do that, make a smaller project, just make a coaster rather than a big pot holder or something. We'll see how we go, because they do take, you know, double knitting does take a long time. So I'm hoping to show you how to do that next week. Like I say, just a coaster or a pot holder, and in one in knit, one in crochet. We'll compare the thicknesses, the look, the feel. Well, I'll feel them, and yeah, hopefully that'll be something that you might have an interest in. Until then, people, have a great rest of the weekend. I know I will. I might even do some more of these weaving in ends, because I want to get this done. I really do want to get this done. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.